Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Collecting Canadian Cavalry and Armour. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Today we're going to take a look at the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. This regiment was formed in 1872 from the Ottawa Troop of Cavalry. They became the Dragoon Guards in 1878 and the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards in 1879. So we have a bunch of the different badges here. We'll take a closer look at those in a second. Uh, Good regiment. They were around a long time. Of course, they were another victim of the 1965 reduction in the Canadian military. Funny how we seem to be going fewer and fewer all the time instead of adding stuff. However, the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards have a bunch of different badges and stuff, and they're kind of very interesting to collect. Sometimes a little hard to find. Um, they amalgamated actually in 1936 during the reorganization of the Canadian militia with the 4th Hussars. We got a couple of badges here that we'll show you. So they had name changed quite a bit from the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards to the 5th Princess Louise Dragoon Guards back to the Princess Louise Dragoon Guard. But I'm saying this a lot, aren't I? And back to the 4th, and that's how they finished things up. So let's take a close look at the badges. So let's take a closer look at some of these badges now. Up at the top here, we have the 5th Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. Nice hat badge, and you can see the cipher for Princess Louise, who was at the time the wife of our Governor General. This little 5 here would have been worn on the epaulets of their dress uniforms. And this interesting silk card here from cigarettes. Kind of neat. It shows the uniform of the 5th Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. Always a nice little addition to your collection of badges. Just and you can find these, kicking around the internet. You probably pay anywhere for maybe $5 to $20, depends on who's selling them. But they're really a nice addition to your collection. So let's take a look at the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards cap badge. We have the collar badges here and the shoulder titles. The neat thing about this cap badge that we'll show you on the back here is that it just has one single screw here, and it looked like there's probably a pin in there. So this would have been for their forage caps that they used to wear. Very nice little collection of the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards, and these were only used for a few years before they amalgamated with the 4th Hussars. Remember in 1936, the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards were amalgamated with the 4th Hussars, and we have some of their badges here. This is the earlier badge. It's and I know people can say, "Hey, that's the size of a collar badge," and quite often during the early days of cavalry, they used the cap badge was also the collar dogs. So you'll see the same size badges. So this is this deal here with this one here. Then they progressed and brought out this one. It's a very nice bimetal badge. Still has the horse motif with the 4th Hussars name. And then over here we have a shoulder title. Unfortunately, we don't have any lugs on this one, but this has been worn on the epaulets. These are the badges for the 4th Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. One thing that you'll notice is there are 2 different size badges. I'm not sure why. I could assume that probably the smaller one would be for the officers. But again, when you're collecting, they look very similar, but we do have one that is smaller. We also have the collar badges here and the shoulder titles, the brass shoulder titles. Now you'll notice how these have changed from the previous collar badges that we use, and they've included the horse and a whole redesign. Many regiments did that when they were amalgamated, as you heard when we did the 2nd 10th Dragoons, how they would take collar badges from one and the hat badge from the other. So this is just another example of that kind of thing. So here we have some cloth shoulder titles for the 4th Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. These guys had many different patterns that they used. To get a real good look at all of them, invest in Bill Alexander's book, The Fabric of War. He lists all of them in there, and it's again a fantastic book. guys, it's worth spending the money. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the cap badges and shoulder titles and stuff like that from the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. Now, most of the information, or a lot of it, comes from Chris Brooker's book. Again, fabulous. You got to spend the money, guys, on the books. And Daniel Mazias' book. Nice thing about this particular one is you can see the old badge from the predecessor to the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. And then we have the helmet plate and some of the other earlier badges. Now, for a bit of a treat, for the second half of this episode, we're going to take a closer look at that brass dragoon's helmet. So let's take a look at this brass dragoon's helmet. Beautiful helmet. It's in beautiful shape. It's made of all brass. You can see this tall finial here with the white horsehair plume. That's indicative of the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. Has a beautiful helmet plate on it with the stylized double L's and coronets of Princess Louise. It features a brass chin strap, which is lined with leather. Fortunately, this leather has not decayed yet. You can see inside it's got a leather liner in there. Not overly protective, but then these helmets were worn primarily for ceremonial duties. The Princess Louise Dragoon Guards, being the only cavalry regiment in Ottawa, part of their duties were to wear the helmets in their best uniforms to escort the Governor General to official duties around Ottawa. Now, we say official duties and dress stuff, they wouldn't wear this in the field. They had a regular forged cap, which was dark blue with buff or white highlights on it. So this helmet was more likely a other ranks. Wouldn't be an officer's. It's not quite fancy enough. But it really shows, as it's smaller, you can see the size of the soldiers back then. It was much smaller than we have today, especially when you compare them to some of the helmets that are in use today by the cavalry regiments. You really form an appreciation of what these guys would have to have done back in the day when they would have to have these polished up and gleaming and looking pretty spectacular for these official duties. Part of its construction, you'll see there's rosettes on the side, on each side that the chin strap is attached to. You can see where the brim has been attached, being hidden across this fancy set of laurel leaves. On the very back, and this helps to date the helmet as an earlier one, as it's got this line of brass oak leaves along where the two sides were put together. That kind of hides things right there. In the more modern helmets, you'll find maple leaves here, indicative of Canada. So this particular item is it's been in my collection for a little while now. It used to be in Clive Law's collection, and we remember Clive from some of the books that he wrote that we took a look at during the first episode. So just to add a little bit to this helmet, I've got a couple of these interesting pieces right here. Now these things, again to the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards, these are actually part of the horse bridle that would have been on the side or the cheeks of the horse with all of their stuff. I'm not a horse person, so I really don't know too much about it. But these things would help to identify the regiment or the horse that the regiment was from. Just kind of a couple hard to find little neat things with the silver badge on the brass circlets that were worn by the horses to match the brass helmets that were worn by the troops. So I hope you've enjoyed taking a quick look at this brass dragoon's helmet from the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards. And again, they were formed in 1870 and lasted almost 100 years until they were moved to the Supplementary Order of Battle. Have a great day and happy collecting.